A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrives in India on his maiden state visit. A revelation from the Prime Minister on a palace in the eastern province.
VIP chalet with pools.
All Island Fisheries Organizations collective rises against Port City project.
Port City බිමේ ඉඳලා කිලෝමීටර් 200ක් චීනයට අයිතිවාසිකම් කියන මූදුසීමා ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
Tragedy in Kakirava. Infant drowns as a result of negligence. India defeat arch rivals Pakistan in their first match at the 2015 World Cup.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived in New Delhi, India today for a 4-day official visit. This will be President Sirisena's first official visit as head of state since assuming office.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived at the New Delhi airport this evening and was greeted by Indian officials. President Maithripala Sirisena departed for India on a Sri Lankan Airlines flight. The president is being accompanied by only 10 delegates. Indian media have called the visit of the Sri Lankan president as a new beginning for bilateral ties and democracy. Democratic changes in Sri Lanka and steps taken to guarantee the rights of all sections of the population have also been widely covered by Indian media ahead of President Sirisena's visit there.
Sri Lanka's new executive president, His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena, will further strengthen friendly ties with neighbouring India when he meets the Indian president at the Rashtrapati Bhavan tomorrow. He will also hold bilateral talks with the Prime Minister, opposition leader and the other senior Indian government officials.
President Sirisena was also due to unveil and pay floral tribute to the Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva statue that has been placed at the premises of the Sri Lankan High Commission in Delhi. Several bilateral agreements are also due to be signed during the president's visit. Meanwhile, as a goodwill gesture, fishing boats that had been in the custody of Sri Lankan and Indian authorities for violating the maritime boundary were released today, parallel to President Sirisena's visit. 86 Indian boats in Sri Lankan custody and 27 Sri Lankan boats in Indian custody were to be released. The boats were in the custody of the Navy in Thalemana, Kankasanture and other locations. Navy media spokesperson Commander Indika Silva noted that the boats would be entrusted to Indian authorities following discussions with the Indian High Commission in Colombo.
Addressing a public meeting today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed facts about a mansion that was being built in Arugambe.
The meeting was held in the Uluwitika area in Galle.
Recently, I located a palace. It is bigger than the Buckingham Palace. This was found in Arugambe. This palace also has a name. It is called the International Coordinating Headquarters. What we have found here are chalets, in other words, holiday bungalows. There were 57 chalets. There were VIP chalets with pools. There are 3 pools. This is in the sea and it is 100 feet long. Sri Lanka's best beach is in Arugambe. There are pools here. What is the purpose of this? Can international coordination be done from Arugambe? For whom are these built? Now we have put a halt to it. They have already built 15. Only walls have been put up and we have stopped further work. The Parliament has not given approval for this. Money from the Presidential Secretariat has been given for this. All financial regulations have been violated. When these expenses were stopped, we could lower the fuel prices.
Minister of Mass Media and Parliamentary Affairs Gayantha Karunatilaka too expressed views at the meeting.
They fill their pockets with commissions from road construction. This government will initiate a new beginning where everything will be done in a transparent way. All this would be done within the 100-day program.
The All Island Fisheries Organisations Collective says that the construction of the port city in Colombo will have a serious impact on the fisheries industry. Now, a discussion regarding the project was held in Negombo today.
The port city is to be built on 575 acres or 233 hectares of land reclaimed from the sea close to the Golf Face Green.
Port city e bime indala kilometer
It is said that a 200-kilometer sea area around the port city will belong to the Chinese, and this could pose problems in the future because fishing boats use this sea area. The government should keep in mind that the fishing community is vigilant on this matter. The Prime Minister said that this project would be stopped. But now we can see through statements in the media that it is not being stopped, but it is continuing under the sponsorship of the Chinese government.
Environmentalists say that changes that will be created as a result of the port city could pose a threat in the future.
The sand needed for this is being removed from the Ussatakeyawa coast. The coast extending from Anavilundava to Panadura is being seriously damaged. When they use the stone and sand for an artificial land mass, there will be a change in the oxygen levels in the water. So this change in oxygen levels affects the food production in the ocean because of the change in the composition of rays from the sun. This will in turn cause serious harm to the coral reef and the fish.
Although the government has stated that it has called for environment impact reports on the port city project, construction on the project continues unabated. Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla commented on the issue in Kandy yesterday.
These governments, the Chinese who are working on the port city, need to know to work in line with the rules and regulations of a country when they come here. The Chinese government has commenced work here without approval from the Environment Authority. They have made a serious mistake. TV channels have shown people working at the port city site. If they work without authorization, it will be a loss for them. This will add 500 acres to the city of Colombo, and when that happens, the value of land in Colombo will reduce.
At a media briefing convened today, the National Freedom Front noted that the government is unable to put a stop to this project.
They cannot stop the port city. How are they going to do it? They are taking loans from India for their budget. The last page of Ravi Karunanayaka's budget states that we obtain loans from China at the recent past for interest rates at decimal points. So stopping the port city will affect everything in Sri Lanka. They cannot stop it. They are just lying and trying to fabricate something.
Did Minister Kabir Hashim exert pressure on Professor Chanika Hediburegama to resign as chairperson of the University Grants Commission? Hashim responded to the allegation made against him at a felicitation event held in Ramukkana yesterday.
What did the officials in top positions do? They used their officers at the last election to write letters canvassing votes for Mahinda Rajapaksa. There was such a problem in the university sector. I ask whether this is ethical. We cannot pardon people engaged in such wrongdoing. No matter who commits a crime, they must be punished. We are prepared to stand straight in such instances.
Speaking further, Hashim noted that he is prepared to face any criticism that may arise in the process of prosecuting wrongdoers.
Those former ministers cannot leave their homes without police protection. I believe that when I reveal the extent of the thievery, corruption and commissions that were taken from the roads that were built, we will have to assign more police protection. They did all this through thievery. We are not exacting political vengeance, but we will not pardon those who have done wrong. Some people question the lack of urgency on our part. We follow the law. The punishment meted out by the law, free of political interference, is the just punishment.
Parliamentarian Rohita Begunwardana expressed views about various allegations that are being levelled at present. The parliamentarian expressed these views while addressing a meeting in the Alviswat area in Kalutara.
They are engaged in a massive campaign to distance us from the people. They are levelling bogus allegations and slinging mud all day long. We would like to tell those who sling mud that when you point one finger at us, there are three fingers that are directed at you. We too held ministerial posts and we too had governments. We made decisions while being among you, the people. We learned from you as we listened to your feelings and aspirations. We were born with the SLFP close to our hearts and we will die with the party in our hearts.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ පපුවට තුරුළු කරගෙන තමයි අපි ඉපදුනේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ පපුවට තුරුළු කරන් තමයි අපි කවදාහරි මේ ජීවිතෙන් සමුගන්නේ.
The National Iron Suppliers Association staged a demonstration in Madampe today. The protesters claim that close to 1 million Sri Lankans in the iron industry will lose their jobs as a result of tax concessions being granted for the importation of raw materials used in iron manufacturing. The iron suppliers who converged on the Madampe town claim that for 12 years they have supplied raw materials to 7 companies which purchase iron to manufacture rods. The price of raw materials has now suddenly decreased. The suppliers say that this situation affects close to 1 million people who collect scrap metal for their livelihoods.
A kilogram of iron sells for 33 rupees. Because of the blades brought from abroad, the factories are not purchasing the iron we collect. We purchased iron for 45 or 50 rupees a kilo when tenders were called and through the auction about a month ago. Please purchase the 600 tons of scrap metal that is collected each day. Provide a stable price and protect this local industry on which close to 1 million families are dependent on.
The demonstrators then staged a protest blocking the railway line close to the Madampe town. Our cameras also captured the manner in which one of the youth participating in the demonstration attempted to board a train. Our reporter said that train services between Chilaw and Colombo were delayed by about half an hour as a result of the demonstration. President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Attorney at Law Pooja Surya, has been selected as a winner of the second Commonwealth Law Conference Rule of Law Award. The Commonwealth Lawyers Association noted that the award would be presented to Jayasuriya at the 19th Commonwealth Law Conference, which will be held in Glasgow, Scotland from the 12th to the 16th of April. Still to come on the news tonight. India triumph over arch rivals Pakistan at the 2015 World Cup. All the action coming up on Sports First. Welcome back to the news. The Newsfirst has reported on a spate of tragic incidents in the recent past where adult negligence has led to the deaths of children. Another such tragedy was reported from Kakirava this morning. The infant Riaz Tiswan from Valachene had come with his parents yesterday to his grandmother's home in Kakirava. The family had gone to the Dambuloya, which runs adjacent to the home, to bathe. Our reporter says that the water level of the Dambuloya, which carries water from the Ibbankatu reservoir to the Kala River, was high yesterday. The mother had placed the 2 children, including 1 year and 10 months old Riaz, on the bank after bathing them in the care of a female relative.
I gave both children and asked her to look after them and to stay on shore. I wasn't late either. I turned around and the child was gone. Only one child was with her. I asked her where the other child was and she said I did not give the child to her.
Riaz's mother only realized that the boy was missing while she was bathing. A search operation was conducted along the Dambuloya today on the suspicion that the child may have fallen into the waterway.
It is from this location that the child had fallen into the canal. What you can see here is the manner in which the police, lifeguards and area residents trying to locate the child.
The child's body was discovered 5 kilometers downriver from where they had been bathing. Now, today's incident brings the number of children who have died as a result of negligence over the past several weeks to 8. Specialist Dr. Ratnasiri Hevage spoke to Newsfirst on steps that can be taken to prevent such tragedies.
Many accidents happen as a result of unwanted incidents. We are subject to accidents because we do what we are not supposed to. Adults need to be on alert at all times. The ability to safeguard children from accidents lies with adults. Children below 2 years should not waste time in front of the TV, the computer or using a cell phone.
Computer, cell phone,
Two youths have drowned in the Castle Reservoir.
The police say that the young men had drowned while bathing in the reservoir this evening. The deceased have been identified as residents of Hatton, aged 16 and 21. The bodies of the drowned youth were discovered by area residents.
The parents of a group of Sri Lankans who have been sentenced to death by a Saudi Arabian court on the charge of murder have been given the opportunity to meet their children.
Nilantha Bandara Tennakon from Mahava, Gayan Uditananekkara from Ragama and Chris Vedamanikam from Dehiwala, who left to Saudi Arabia in 2005 to work in a hospital, are the three men who are on death row. The group of Sri Lankans who had lost their jobs in Saudi Arabia had attempted to rob the home of a Yemeni national.
They were sent abroad to work not for the jobs they were promised. They've been in hunger for 2-3 years. They were living under bridges. They were suffering. Ultimately, they got together with 4 or 5 other Indians, following which a Yemeni national was killed by them.
11 people were found guilty in court. 8 of them have returned to Sri Lanka after serving their prison terms.
I was detained along with them at the Jeddah Birayman detention centre. When we went to court there, the victim's mother and brother spoke with the judge in private alongside us and said they are willing to pardon us with compensation.
Gayan Uditananekkara, who is on death row in Saudi Arabia, confirmed this to his mother.
The relatives of the victim are willing to accept compensation. Many voluntary organizations have come forward to provide this money as well.
While the 3 Sri Lankan parents have been given an opportunity to meet with their children, the parents said they would rather see a process that would see their children freed eventually.
He went overseas because we are poor. I plead that they try their best to secure his release.
Although Minister Rauf Hakim has requested a meeting with Saudi authorities on behalf of the government, such a meeting has not been scheduled as yet.
Protests were held today citing various reasons at a number of locations around the island.
The Youth Forum for Social Advancement held a demonstration in the Vellavatta area this morning, citing that underground water sources are being polluted due to the leakage of furnace oil in the Walikamam area in Jaffna. They state that the residents of Walikamam village in Jaffna are facing a number of hardships due to the leakage of furnace oil into water sources, including wells in the area. The only way to get water in Jaffna is through wells. When there is oil mixed in the well water, we cannot use the water. The people in the area do not have water to drink. There is a major health issue if they consume the water. We ask the provincial government and the central government to provide us with a solution for this major health issue. Members of the clergy and teachers of 18 Sunday schools in the Galin Bindunuwava Shashana Rakshaka Bala Mandale engaged in a protest in the Galin Bindunuwava junction today. The protest was held citing that students of grades 9, 10 and 5 do not attend Sunday school. Thereafter, the protesters also engaged in a procession in the Galin Bindunuwava town.
Still in local news, Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajid Premadasa visited the historic temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy today. After paying homage to the sacred Tooth Relic, Minister Sajid Premadasa called on the Chief Prelate of the Yaskiri chapter, the Most Venerable Udugama Shri Buddharakita Thera, and presented to him a booklet containing information on housing schemes that have been planned under his ministry. Premadasa then called on the Chief Prelate of the Malata chapter, the Most Venerable Thibbutwawe Shri Sumangala Thera. Speaking to the media following the visit, the minister had this to say.
මගේ අමාත්‍යංශෙත්
I did not chase away officials from my ministry simply because they worked with the last minister. In truth, these officials are like the arecanut that is caught in the grinder. The chief guilty party here is the former political authority. We must be able to punish wrongdoers and at the same time ensure that those with talent become stakeholders in the future journey of the country. In the previous government, we saw instances where they themselves appointed courts and they became the judges as well. This will not happen under our government. In truth, there is no fraud, corruption and deception today. We do not use helicopters anymore.
ඇත්තම කතා කරනවා නම් අද හොරකම දූෂණේ වංචාව ප්‍රෝඩාව මුසාව මුලාව ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් අපි හෙලිකොප්ටර් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Deputy Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva made a pledge today to intervene and look into the problems faced by carpenters in Moratuwa.
Who spoke of this issue? Only the MPs of the opposition. We finally arrived at a decision to send this to the AG's office to change the interpretation. Minister Susil Premajayantha made a promise to us, but their government did not do this. 70 days still remain. Shall we undertake this challenge?
අපි ගමුද අපි යෝගේ අපි ගන්නද අපි යෝගේ අපි උත්සාහ කරනවා.
The event was held to distribute items to Sunday schools and 8 voluntary organizations in the Vilorawatta area in Moratuwa.
Another phase of a program initiated in the Mathura district to inquire into problems faced by the people was held at the Nyaya Fair today.
Which is the conceptualization of MP Buddhika Patirana was held under the auspices of the MP at the Nyaya Fairgrounds. The MP was warmly welcomed by the people upon his arrival. A number of people were present at the Nyaya Fair to submit their problems to MP Buddhika Patirana. In the recent days, plans were made to cut a tunnel to take water from the Ginganga and the Nilwala River to the Hambantota port, the airport, the Telecinema village and to the International Cricket Stadium for the babies to play cricket. They did not look into it. The waterfalls which adorned Nyaya are not present anymore. There is no moisture in the Mathura district anymore. I would like to certify to you all that we will not let the water to be taken to Hambantota without considering the requirement of water for the Mathura district for at least the next 50 years. We will protect it with our life.
UNP Western Provincial Councillor S. M. Marika attended an event held in Dehiwala today.
The 2014 prize giving of the Sri Dhamma Tilaka Dhamma School at the Sri Ma Bodhi Vihariya in Dehiwala was held today under the auspices of Provincial Councillor S. M. Marika. A group including the Mayor of Dehiwala Mount Levenia, Dhanasiri Amaratunga, was present at the event.
එදාට වඩා සමාජය වෙනස්. එදාට වඩා දරුවෝ වෙනස්. එදාට වඩා තාක්ෂණය වෙනස්. ලෝකය දිහා දකින විදිය වෙනස්.
Society is far different today from how it was back then. Children are different, technology is different, and the perception of the world is different. Sri Lanka became the top country in the world for sex-related internet searches. This is disappointing and unfortunate. We must be a society that gives prime position to morals. Most parents are lethargic to see what their children are looking for on the internet, and others simply do not know. Banning the internet will not help us in any way. All that it will do is ensure that Sri Lanka is backwards in comparison to the rest of the world.
ඒ තුළ වෙන්නේ ලෝකයේත් එක්ක ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය සමාජය ආපස්සට යෑමක් සහ ලිං මැඩියන් බවට පත්වීමේ ප්‍රවණතාවයක් බිහිවීම පමණයි.
The police discovered a body that was floating in a canal in the Valigama area in Mathura this morning.
The deceased was identified as a 52-year-old father of 3 who lived in the Valana area in Valigama. He was last seen last night when he left his house to buy food. The body of the individual was found in a canal along the Borala road in Valigama, Mathura around 7:10 this morning, while the bicycle he used to commute was also found in close proximity. The relatives of the deceased say that the death is suspicious, as the verdict of a court case that the deceased was involved in was due to be handed down tomorrow.
The bicycle is about 25 meters away from where the incident has taken place. My father has fallen into the canal. There was a wooden pole at the scene as well. We told the policemen who were there that this death is suspicious. There is also a court case on a land issue that has continued for almost 10 years. The verdict is due to be handed down tomorrow. This is also reason why this is suspicious.
And in sports news, South Africa defeated Zimbabwe by 62 runs today in their Group B fixture at the 2015 World Cup in Hamilton, New Zealand. Meanwhile, Pakistan failed to latch on to the opportunity once again today to defeat arch rivals India in a World Cup match. India defeated Pakistan by 76 runs today at the Adelaide Oval.
Winning the toss in the Group B fixture at the Adelaide Oval, India elected to bat first. While the Pakistani bowlers struck early to dismiss Rohit Sharma for 6, leaving India on 11 for 1, Virat Kohli joined Shikhar Dhawan to put on a 124-run second wicket stand. Dhawan was eventually dismissed for 73. Kohli then went on to put on 110 runs for the third wicket with Suresh Raina, who scored 74. Incidentally, Kohli, who went on to score his 22nd ODI century with 107 runs, was dropped twice during the innings on 3 and 74. Sohail Khan, who made his return to international cricket after a 3-year hiatus, recorded career best figures of 5 for 55. India went on to score 300 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in their 50 overs. Pakistan lost opener Yunus Khan early, and following a brief partnership from Ahmed Shahzad and Haris Sohail, were reeling on 103 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Captain Misbah-ul-Haq impressed with a composed 76, but it was not enough to save the Pakistanis, who were bundled out for 224 runs in 47 overs.
The Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka has commenced rehearsals for their upcoming Classical Masterworks concert, which is to be held on Sunday the 22nd of February at the Ladies College Hall in Colombo 7.
The Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka is one of the oldest orchestras in South Asia. The SOSL takes special interest in fostering youth Sri Lankan talent and dedicates one of its annual subscription concerts to feature young soloists. This is part of its commitment to develop young musicians and provides an opportunity for them to appear with a full symphony orchestra at a public concert.
We are currently practicing for our concert on the 22nd of this month at the Ladies College Hall. The concert is titled Classical Masterworks Concert, and we are featuring 3 works by 3 composers, Mozart, Bizet and Hummel, all who were writing music in the classical style. So this is the music of the classical period in Western classical music.
But it is not always a good thing to cling to memories of the past at the expense of the present and the future. Now, many of the pandals and cutouts that are put up ahead of major events tend to adorn our streets for years before authorities eventually turn their attention towards cleaning up. 2 such structures still remain on the side of the Kandy Road adjoining the Katunayak Expressway. In fact, the failure to expedite the removal of these structures may give tourists arriving in Sri Lanka via the BIA a wrong first impression of the country. We leave you tonight with the message that taking these structures down would prevent such impressions from being made in the minds of visitors to our country. Good night and take care.